guys, it's Natalie again here from Team Epic Reads, and I am so ready to give you the Real Talk rundown on some of the most important books in YA. So today I'm going to be talking about two books that have had a huge impact on me: All American Boys by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Kelly, and American Street by Ibi Zoboi. I paired these two books together because they both made me think about what it means to be an American and how that definition is so vastly different for so many different people, and really how beautiful that is. So let's hop right in with All American Boys. All American Boys is a story about police brutality from the perspective of two high school classmates, Rashad, who is black, and Quinn, who is white. The inciting incident happens here when Rashad is wrongfully accused of shoplifting and assaulting a white woman. This leads to him being very publicly and very savagely beaten, with Quinn, his classmate, as a prime witness. So I don't want to spoil the events that follow, but essentially the hashtag Rashad is absent again today goes viral. Quinn has to decide what he's going to do about what he saw. Protests ensue, and all the while, Rashad is coping with his trauma. So the thing I found to be so powerful about All American Boys was the way each boy, Rashad and Quinn, processed the events that occurred. It really gave me Rashad's perspective, what it feels like to be targeted by police, and also gave me Quinn's perspective, what it feels like to be a bystander and in a way feel silenced. And needless to say, I didn't agree with Quinn all the time, but that doesn't make his truth any less honest or any less valid. All American Boys really made me think about the struggles that black boys and black men face in society today. That all too often, black boys are treated as problems before they're treated as people, and that's really, really hard to swallow. It makes me think about the large number of parents that have to sit their sons down and explain to them exactly how to behave when they are being approached or pulled over by a police officer. So even though it is so important that we continue to talk about the struggle black men face in society today, it is also equally important to celebrate them and acknowledge how beautiful they truly are. You know, we can't only talk about black boys and black men when they become a hashtag. They exist and they matter all the time, 24/7. Another thing I want to quickly note about All American Boys is that Jason Reynolds and Brendan Kelly co-wrote this book when they heard that George Zimmerman would not be found guilty for Trayvon Martin's murder back in 2012. And while Jason Reynolds is black, Brendan Kelly is white, and what I found to be so incredible about this is that two men could come together regardless of their race and write something that was this powerful. So bottom line, All American Boys really made me think about what it means to be an American and how vastly different those experiences can be for different ethnicities, genders, races, and it inspired me to continue to speak out for what I believe in. And so I absolutely, highly recommend All American Boys. Okay, so moving right along to American Street. I absolutely loved this book. It was really magical and really poetic, and even though it's definitely a lighter read than All American Boys, it still gave me some really profound insight into what it means to be an immigrant in America today. So American Street follows the story of 16-year-old Fabiola, an immigrant from Haiti, who comes over to the United States with her mother with the plans to permanently stay. So Fabiola is a United States citizen, but her mother is not, so when they get to the United States, her mother is detained in the JFK airport by U.S. immigration, and Fabiola is sent to move on and live with her aunt and cousins in Detroit. So the rest of the story follows Fabiola as she navigates her immigrant experience, really comes into her own, and also explores the culture shock that comes with the struggle of finding your place in a brand new society. So one thing I will say is that there is a bit of magical realism in this book, and I found it to be really beautiful and really informative on what Fabiola's culture is like back home versus the culture she's assimilating to in the United States. Another thing that really stood out about American Street is the depth of topics that it explores. It fearlessly took on topics from sexual orientation to police brutality, gang violence, slut shaming, immigrants' experience, There are so many rich topics to delve into in American Street. This book was so unapologetic in how it portrayed the concept of intersectionality. How being a woman is one experience, and then being a Black woman is a vastly different experience, and then like Fabiola, being an immigrant and a Black woman is kind of a intersection of all of those experiences. The amazing thing about this book is that it really makes you want to learn about the varying cultures in order to move towards becoming a more accepting society. For example, learning about voodoo culture through Fabiola's eyes was absolutely fascinating. I wonder how differently we would be able to interact with each other if we were able to open our hearts and our minds to all the different cultures that exist, not only in our world, but in our very own countries. And obviously, the image of Fabiola's mother being detained in the JFK airport seems incredibly relevant to our society today. I think that getting that image and then moving on with Fabiola and seeing how tearing these families apart really affects them is so important for us to think about. American Street reminded me that it is all of our responsibilities to continue to broaden our horizons and enlarge our world so that we can reject this fear of the unknown and instead embrace our differences because that's what makes us beautiful. Okay, book nerds, well, that is all the real talk that I've got for you today, so head down to the comments below and tell me what you think about these books, what books I should be reading, what should I feature on my next real talk. I'm thirsty AF for suggestions, so I hope to see you in the comments below. Book shimmy!